Hello everyone, welcome to this video. I've had a bit of a weird idea, but I think it could be interesting to pit the openers and closers of every Radiohead album against each other, to kind of determine which is the best opener and the best closer all together, which will end up in this kind of category here, and then to pick out of those two the best either opener or closer, if you get what I'm saying. Now obviously where there's 9 albums, it has created a bit of an uneven tournament, so I've got to choose between these two before I can then do the rest. It's pretty self-explanatory. I'm just going to talk a bit about the songs and why I think one is a better opener or closer than the other. I've also tried to have this randomised, so it should hopefully be an opener versus a closer, hopefully, but obviously where it's uneven it hasn't worked quite as I'd want it to, but I'm just going to run with it, and hopefully here at the end we end with an opener and a closer. If not, and it's 2 openers or 2 closers, then so be it, and we'll just have to pick a champion out of them. But yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. And actually, before we do, I just want to state this isn't like a ranking of the song in itself. I can think that one song is better than the other, but that the other one is a better opener or a closer. Like this I want to pit openers and closers, so you know, how does it lead into the album and the feel of the album, and again, how does it close the album out? Does it do it well? Is it a good song but it's not great for closing the album? You get what I'm saying. Let's just get into it. Right, I'm going to start up here, obviously. So we've got A Wolf at the Door and Motion Picture Soundtrack, which is really annoying because they're both amazing songs, which I really, really love. And I'm going to have to now choose between them. But again, this isn't based on which one I prefer as a song, it's which one I prefer as a closer to the album. And I think looking at these, it's pretty clear that Motion Picture Soundtrack is a better closer. A Wolf at the Door is an amazing song, but it doesn't necessarily feel like a closer. It's quite fast paced, which, I mean, it doesn't have to be slow to be a closer, but Hail to the Thief in itself is kind of a jumbled album, you know. It hasn't necessarily got an overlying feel to it like some of the other albums. So although Wolf at the Door is an amazing song, and song wise choosing out of these two would be very, very difficult, I think Motion Picture Soundtrack is the better opener. So let's go ahead and click it, and then it puts it here, and now we're gonna have to do the same for Videotape and Life in a Glass House. Now this is really, really tough because I know I prefer Life in a Glass House as a song, but I am leaning towards Videotape being the better closer of the album. I think In Rainbows is a great vibey album. Like I don't know how to explain it. It has just a great feeling all throughout, and it's also a very big album. It's very I can't think of the word off the top of my head, but it's not a stripped back album. There's a lot of layers to it, and certain songs have a lot of, you know, strings, and there's guitars and drums and everything going on. Like 15 Step, you have the synths and the drums, and then the guitar comes in and the vocals on top. And then Nude is a stripped back song, but I think that's probably the most stripped back song on there. You know, it's a very not bulky, because that makes it sound bad, but it's just got a lot going on, and it's good. But then you get to Videotape, and it kind of closes the album out with just that kind of piano. There's not much else to it, you know. You've got Tom's vocals, and it's just a really nice closer. I think it just ends the album well. So I actually have to pick Videotape, even though I probably prefer Life in a Glass House as a song. And I have realised I didn't really talk about Life in a Glass House much there, but it's a great, brilliant song. I, again, probably prefer it as a song to Videotape, but as a closer, I don't think it closes the album quite as well. It's still a great song, but I get more of a closing vibe from Videotape. Right, this is what I was hoping for. I was hoping for more of, because obviously they're both closers and they're both closers, I was hoping for more opener versus closer. But it's kind of random, which I suppose is even better, because I have just put it in a random order apparently. So You versus Motion Picture Soundtrack. You is, I actually really like the song You, and it is a good opener actually to Pablo Honey, but yeah, it just doesn't, in any regard, song wise or opener versus closer wise, Motion Picture Soundtrack closes so much better than You opens Pablo Honey, to be honest, realistically. Next we have 2 + 2 = 5 and Pat Like Sardines in a Crush, blah blah blah. 2 + 2 = 5 is 100% the better opener out of the two. Pat Like Sardines isn't actually that bad of an opener. Like, it sets the mood for the album quite well, because Amnesiac is kind of like Kid A extended, but I think it's in some regards a lot more experimental than Kid A, and in other regards not. It's more of a mixed bag than Kid A, that's for sure, but I think Packed Like Sardines sets you on course to experience that quite well. But 2 + 2 = 5 is an amazing opener. It gets you so in the mood to listen to the rest of the album, and it does fit the tone of the rest of the songs on the album, so yeah. Right, Airbag versus Street Spirit. Now this is a tough one, because Airbag, the first opening note of the guitar just sets you right in motion to dive into OK Computer. It's great, but Street Spirit also ends the bends amazingly. It's a dark song, and it just closes the album perfectly. And it's really difficult to choose this, but I think I am actually going to have to choose Street Spirit over Airbag as the better closer. Rather, it just closes it better than Airbag opens. Next we have Separator versus Bloom. Yeah, see, what it's done here is put the two King of Limbs, the opener and the closer of King of Limbs together, which, okay, I'm not, you know, it is what it is. It's gonna have to be Separator. Bloom is a good opener in the regards of it sets the album up, because every song is like Bloom in a way. The way they were built, and well, not built, but the way they were written and sung and just put together as a musical entity. But I think Separator just closes it just a bit better. It's just a nice finish to the album. Yeah, I haven't got too much to say about these. I don't listen to King of Limbs too often, to be honest, so Separator it is. Next, Planet Telex versus The Tourist. Planet Telex is actually a really good opener to the bends as well, but The Tourist is a great closer. It's just a nice slowed down song, great vocals. It just rounds off the album amazingly. So I'm not going to talk about them too much. The Tourist wins. Okay, I have just seen what has been paired together here. True Love Waits and 15 Step. That is wrong. That is wrong. Why has it done that? Why? These have been put together randomly. I wanted to choose like what goes versus what, but then I kind of thought that might defeat the purpose a little bit. And plus, where it's an uneven kind of number, well, because it's 9 versus 9, so you know what I mean. But it has been done randomly, and True Love Waits is such a good closer. It's so good. It is amazing. It's an amazing song, and it's an amazing closer for a Moonshaped Pool. So obviously, True Love Waits was floating around for years. There's a load of like guitar versions. Tom sung it live, and then on a Moonshaped Pool, where it finally got recorded, a studio version, it's piano, and it wouldn't have worked nowhere near as well as guitar closing a Moonshaped Pool as it does being a piano song. It is oh god, it's a great song and a great closer. But then we have 15 Step, which is an amazing opener to In Rainbows. It just sets the tone amazingly. You listen to 15 Step and you know what the rest of the album's going to be like. It's such a good opener. It sets you on course. It's a nice upbeat song, and again a really really good song. Choosing between the two, because obviously we've got a closer and an opener here, I think I have to go with 15 Step. I think it opens the album really well and sets you right on course. And although True Love Waits does really round off a Moonshaped Pool really really nicely, it does. I think 15 Step maybe opens In Rainbows just a little bit better. Everything in its Right Place versus Blowout. Right, okay, moving on. No, right, I'll talk about them a little bit. Everything in its Right Place is it's an amazing opener. It really sets the tone for Kid A, and I mean, imagine going from, if you was a fan at the time when you know OK Computer was released, you've listened to that, you've over and over and over again, and you've got to grips with it, and you think, God, I love this, I love Radiohead, and then Kid A's released, and you put it on, and then you just hear those openings. It just sets you right on course that album. You must have been thinking, what the hell is this? And then falling in love with it because it's fantastic. And Blowout is Blowout. I wouldn't even call it a closer. It's just another song on Pablo Honey. it just mixes into the rest of them. They're all very, very similar, like sounding in a way. There's a few standouts on that album, but I wouldn't say Blowout does anything as a song, and it doesn't do anything as a closer either, so it was a pretty clear win. Now we've got Videotape versus Burn the Witch. Why do I feel like I've already spoke about Videotape? Because I have, because it was versus Life in a Glass House, right? Yep, nope, fair enough. That does make sense, right. Again, there's not much more to say about Videotape. I said what I need to say. However, Burn the Witch, I haven't spoke about yet. Burn the Witch is a great opener. I love the kind of... I don't even know, is it strings? Like the kind of jumpy dun 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 strings. Like, it's not a solid noise, and then you've got the kind of guitar and everything going on. It's a great opener, and then goes into Daydreaming. But I think Daydreaming might have actually been a better opener than Burn the Witch for the album. Maybe not, maybe that's just my opinion, but it's having said that, I think that means Videotape does have to win this round again. Right, moving on, let me just, before I start doing these ones, motion picture, so we've got closer and an opener. We've got two closers there. Closer and an opener, and closer and an opener, so in theory we should be alright here. But anyway, motion picture soundtrack versus 2 + 2 = 5. This is where it's now going to get difficult, because obviously I've said most of my thoughts on these now. And my thoughts being motion picture soundtrack, amazing closer. 2 + 2 = 5, amazing opener. However, I think... I was going to say I think 2 + 2 = 5 might be the better song. But then I thought about it again. I was like, well, actually, no, motion picture soundtrack is probably the better song. But then I thought about it again. I can't even choose which one's the better song. They're both so good. And they do. The problem with this is why I thought the video would be interesting, is because you're comparing so different things. You're trying to pick between an opener and a closer, so you're picking from them doing different things, but also the songs themselves are so different. But I think my gut reaction was to choose motion picture soundtrack. That was my gut reaction there, so that's what I'll have to do. Right, unfortunately, as I said, I don't really listen to King of Limbs that much, and as I also said, Street Spirit is an amazing dark song that closes the bends really well, so you know, that was obviously going to happen. Now we've got the Tourist versus 15 Step. Now, this is again difficult, but I'm not actually quarrelling too much with this. My immediate reaction was that 15 Step is a better opener than the Tourist as a closer. It's weird how it is, because I thought so much, like the True Love Waits versus 15 Step was a much harder decision than the Tourist versus 15 Step, but that's just what happens sometimes with these, you know, when a tournament's laid out like this. Next we have Everything in Its Right Place versus Videotape. Yeah, it's a hard one, but again, there's no point me reiterating my same points over and over again. But Everything in Its Right Place, I think, opens the album better than Videotape closes in Rainbows. Not to say that Videotape's a bad song, because it's amazing. All these songs are amazing, to be honest. Even ones that didn't... A Wolf at the Door didn't even make it past the first step. And I honestly loved that song. I really do. It was in my top 10 on when I did the 50 list, I'm pretty sure. What has happened here has happened quite well for me, because we've got Motion Picture versus Street Spirit, which is two closers, and 15 Step versus... Everything in Its Right Place, which is two openers. No, okay, never mind. We've got two songs from, like, we've got the opener and closer from Kid A here, which is quite funny. But anyway, motion picture soundtrack versus Street Spirit. Oh, now this one is hard. This one is really, really, really hard. Street Spirit was the song I knew of, and, well, obviously, as I've explained on multiple videos, I purposefully listened to Radiohead in release order. So obviously Street Spirit I knew a while before I knew Motion Picture. Also very, very much adore this song, and it is a top 10 song, but Motion Picture soundtrack, especially recently, has become a top 10 for me as well. I think Motion Picture soundtrack just closes the album a little bit better. I just think it does. Nothing against Street Spirit, because again, a fantastic song, but I think Motion Picture soundtrack does do it a little bit better. Right, 15 Step versus Everything in Its Right Place. Another real difficult one. Really, really difficult one. Thinking about it, I think 15 Step probably does it just a little bit better. Everything in Its Right Place is such an amazing song, and I don't think I'll ever get sick of hearing it. But 15 Step, I think, really, really sets the tone for In Rainbows. I mean, everything in its right place. I mean, definitely sets the tone for Kid A, don't get me wrong. But I think 15 Step just does it a little bit better. So that leaves us with the best opener and the best closer, which the best opener being 15 Step and the best closer being Motion Picture Soundtrack. That is what we've ended up with, and I'm very happy with that. I haven't actually got any quarrels. So we have our best opener and best closer, which is, yep, so we've got that now. That's fine. You can, if you want to, leave the video here now. That's fine. But I am going to choose which is better at doing its job between these two and give us a final champion as which is the best opener or closer altogether. And it's a real difficult one. But my gut instinct, and again, I've already reiterated my points about these songs enough now, so my gut instinct is telling me that Motion Picture Soundtrack is a better closer than 15 Step is an opener. But that is not to say any of these are bad songs at all, and it's not even to say any of them are bad at opening or closing the album, because even Life in a Glass House and even A Wolf at the Door, which didn't make it past the first steps, are amazing songs, and they are good at closing the albums. So, you know, it's just what's better at doing the job, and apparently that's Motion Picture Soundtrack. But that is it for this video. I hope you did enjoy. Please do let me know your thoughts down below, but other than that, I'll see you guys later.